Once upon a time, there was a trader named Ethan. He had always been fascinated by the stock market, watching the rise and fall of prices, reading about the fortunes people made, and dreaming of a life of financial freedom. Determined to succeed, Ethan dove headfirst into the world of trading, eager to make his mark. In the beginning, he was like many newcomers, excited, impulsive, and eager to see immediate results. He jumped from one trade to the next without a clear strategy, driven by the adrenaline rush of potential profits. Sometimes he would make money, but more often, he would lose it. His trades were a roller coaster, filled with wild swings of emotion. When he made a profit, he couldn't wait to take the money and run, often missing out on even greater gains. When he lost, he panicked and rushed to make another trade to recover his losses, only to dig himself into a deeper hole. The constant cycle of greed and fear began to wear on Ethan. He knew he had the technical skills to analyze charts, read financial reports, and spot trends, but there was something else missing, something more fundamental. The problem wasn't his knowledge of the market, it was his own mind. One day, after a particularly brutal string of losses, Ethan took a step back and realized something important. The market wasn't the enemy, his emotions were. He had been so focused on the immediate potential for profit that he had lost sight of the long-term goal. He was driven by fear and greed, constantly jumping into trades without patience, and his haste to make decisions had been sabotaging him. Determined to change, Ethan decided to take a break from trading. He knew he needed to work on the psychology of trading, something he had neglected in his early days. Over the next several months, he read books, attended seminars, and spoke with experienced traders. He learned that successful traders weren't those who made the most trades, but those who waited for the right opportunities. They weren't driven by emotion. They were driven by discipline and patience. Ethan learned to recognize the signs of greed. He understood that profits were not a reason to rush and take uncalculated risks. He learned to set realistic targets, and more importantly, to stick to them. He also confronted his fear of missing out. He learned that sometimes doing nothing was the best decision, waiting for the perfect moment to strike rather than chasing every potential opportunity. But perhaps the hardest lesson Ethan learned was overcoming laziness. In the past, when he felt tired or uncertain, he would avoid studying the market, convinced that the next day would be better. Now he understood that success in trading required constant learning, research, and reflection. There were no shortcuts, and the key was to stay consistent in the effort, even when the results weren't immediate. After months of self-reflection, study, and discipline, Ethan returned to trading, but this time, everything was different. He was no longer driven by emotion or impatience. He had developed a clear strategy and followed it rigorously. He knew when to enter a trade, when to exit, and, perhaps most importantly, when to stay out of the market entirely. Ethan's approach was methodical and thoughtful. He let his trades develop over time, allowing the market to unfold without forcing anything. He found that by waiting for the right moments, his gains were larger and more consistent. His losses were smaller, and his overall risk was better managed. Slowly but surely, his success grew. Years later, Ethan looked back at his journey with gratitude. He realized that the key to his success wasn't just in his knowledge of the markets, but in his mastery over his own emotions. Greed no longer controlled him, and fear no longer paralyzed him. His patience and discipline had paid off, and he had created the life he once dreamed of. The moral of Ethan's story was clear. Success in the stock market wasn't just about making smart trades. It was about mastering the psychology of trading. And once he learned to control his emotions, Ethan found the path to consistent success and financial freedom.